Hello, everyone. X Walk Hill Bethelite. And I don't know if you've seen the show Crusaders that aired on Vice. I watched it on YouTube, and I'd like to show you guys a quick peek. If you hadn't seen it yet, this will whet your appetite to watch Crusaders that aired on Vice. I think Vice has got a website you can go to and look at it. It's also on YouTube. And we're going to look at just two experiences. One experience is going to show you why Jehovah's Witnesses and their whole structure of sending anybody who walks inside that Kingdom Hall out door to door in the public to interact with the public, go inside people's homes, be around people's kids, and the whole reason why the entire structure is idiotic is because you have no idea the mental state of the person you're sending out. Let's get into this first experience. But people who think, oh, Jehovah's Witnesses have the true religion because they send any damn body to your door is an idiot. And also, we're going to get into why other churches aren't dumb enough to do this.
My mother suffered from a personality disorder, which wasn't diagnosed till later in life. She was extremely abusive. She's not a very nice person. So she was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and she would kind of use the Bible as part of her abuse with us. She would read scriptures to us about, make sure you obey your mother. And then she would beat us and did certain, awful things. I have an older brother and an older sister. My mom would lock us in rooms. She turned the doorknob so the lock was on the outside, so she could lock us for days at a time in our room with no access to the restroom. We'd have to, go out the window or use a litter box. We would watch.
This woman's kids they were peeing in the damn litter box, or hell, having bowel movements in the damn litter box. These are the people, this is a real experience, a real example of who Jehovah's Witnesses send out door to door into the public. They tell people, they try to get people to trust them because they're a religion and what have you. And this is how they get these insane, crazy people inside people's homes to abuse kids. Let's keep going here, but we had to stop there. My lands, the kids were using the damn litter box. We had to stop there. Let's keep going.
Drown kittens in front of us. They kind of threatened us that if we spoke up about the abuse, this is kind of what would happen to us. She would beat us. She would starve us. I was malnourished. I was very skinny. I was all skin and bones. My clavicle was always sticking out. I had dark circles under my eyes. I was sexually abused as well by my mother. My father worked different shifts at his job, so there were times he worked 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and so we were left alone with my mom. She would make us lay in bed next to her while she masturbated.
Say again? Say again. So this woman would turn doorknobs around in houses to imprison the kids in rooms, making them use the bathroom in the damn litter box. And this woman would kill cats in front of the kids to scare them so that they wouldn't say anything. This sadistic. This woman would kill cats and kittens and whatnot. And you mean to tell me she's a pedophile also? She was doing sexual stuff to her own kids? This is the height of mental sickness. Like, this woman was sick. And this is the type of person that's at the Kingdom Hall with free access to kids because the kids would go out door to door, with these people. Uh, and these people would try to get into people's homes, right? These are the people that currently are writing people letters to try to contact them. Sick, sadistic people that have their kids peeing in litter boxes and raping their own kids those are the people who are currently writing letters and sending them to random people's mailboxes to try to contact them right now. This is who Jehovah's Witnesses are sending out and that are trying to contact the public. Let's continue on here.
12 years old, went to an elder, and I informed him about the serious abuse that was going on in our home. But because it was my word against my mother's word, they would take no action. I asked for help. They actually reasoned with me that if I died at the hands of my mother, which was a real possibility, could she stop Jehovah from resurrecting me? And of course, the logical answer was no. And so instead of giving me any practical help, even providing some food or reporting to Child Protective Services, I was sent back home to face this horrible, horrific abuse.
So she did what she was supposed to do. She told the adults. You got to understand that for Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not supposed to talk to or associate with people they call worldly. The people they call worldly is everybody that's not a Jehovah's Witness. So the only adults for her were basically the elders. She went to the adults. That's what you're supposed to do. And basically what they did was just send her back home. Like, hey, we're not we're not dealing with this. You just go back home, obey your parents, stay out of our hair. They could care less. That cult could care less about people. Let's continue on.
On top, I was told I couldn't report it because it would make the organization look bad. The abuse was so bad that I actually remember looking at my mom and thinking, if I just kill her right now, or I kill myself, this would be over. And sorry.
Some people do commit suicide. Some Jehovah's Witnesses, especially, you got to understand the kids have to go through 18 to 20 plus years of this before they can finally get away from their parents. This is probably one of the reasons why in most kingdom halls, a lot of the younger people leave. They get the hell away from all these pedophiles and everything else that they have at the kingdom hall. And another reason why I think that these elders, the groups of people that these kids go to talk to about all this stuff. One of the reasons why they don't do anything about it, they just send them back. They're pedophiles also. So if she went to go talk to other Jehovah's Witnesses, who are very likely other pedophiles also, about her mother being a pedophile, of course they told her, just go back home, obey your mom, and don't say nothing else about it. They don't want the cops looking into this stuff, because the cops look into this stuff, some of their stuff might get turned over also. If the cops come to a kingdom hall and start an investigation where they interview kids there and families there, other kids could have spoken up. That's probably one of the reasons why the elders told her, just go back home. Don't talk to no cops. They'll mess around and lock us up too, because we're all pedophiles also. The pedophile problem within Jehovah's Witnesses is bad. They let anybody in, give anybody a title, send anybody out door to door. And it's the perfect place because they're isolated. You're not allowed to talk to anybody that's not a Jehovah's Witness. So it's like a bunch of pedophiles locking kids in a room, telling them the only person you could talk to is the other pedophiles in this room. That's the Jehovah's Witness organization here.
I always have in my mind a picture of a little girl that I pushed down, and so she's the one that was abused, and I have to separate myself. If those brothers had helped me when I was 12, I wouldn't have had to deal with what I dealt with. They made one phone call to Child Protective Services. She's still an active witness. She's around children. I have nightmares. My mom flashing.
She's saying that this sadistic cat killing pedophile is still loose. That was never put in prison. Probably don't even have a police record, because these are the people that Jehovah's Witnesses protect. This person is still just wandering around, killing cats right now as we speak.
Kittens down the toilet, or tying them up in a plastic bag and listening to them cry and die in front of you. She's a psychopath. So you don't say anything. I just put a smile on my face. No one knew what was going on outside. No one knew, and I knew the risk that I took. I went to those elders. I was putting my life on the line, because if my mom found out that I told anyone about the abuse, she would have killed me. And those brothers said, go home and obey your mother.
She didn't talk about it until after I left the organization. She didn't talk about the fact that the elders had covered up specific allegations of abuse and told her to leave the matter in Jehovah's hands. Now it was personal.
Leave the matter in Jehovah's hands, meaning just basically pray about it. Don't tell the cops. It's Jehovah's Witnesses lie when they say, oh, we never told anybody not to go and tell the cops. Yeah, no, they tell people, just leave it in Jehovah's hands. We'll take care of it. And you know, you just have more and more and more pedophiles until you just have an organization full of them, just full of pedophiles operating. Elders that are pedophiles, and you know, you go up and higher up in the chain. And, you know, Bethel, I remember at Bethel, I'd never understood why these older men, I'm talking in their 40s and 50s, weren't married, didn't have a wife, but like trying to have kids over at Bethel, like to come visit, you know. This pedophile issue with Jehovah's Witnesses, it is, you know, an infestation. You know, if something is an infestation, you almost got to burn the whole damn thing down to get rid of the problem. And that's how bad these problems are with Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's just the pedophiles. That's not everything else that's wrong with this cult.
I gave my life to this organization. I turned down a full scholarship to an Ivy League school. And I wanted to be a doctor. And instead, I turned that all down for an organization that wouldn't protect me.
Higher learning. The cult keeps their members from getting higher learning. We've got all kinds of evidence of that, even though Jehovah's Witnesses lie and say, oh, we never said that.
Being a witness,
Let's go to our next experience here. Next up, we have Asher. And Asher is going to give our next experience. But you got to understand, there are a lot of kids in the exact situation that this woman is describing. See, she's an adult now. But there are kids that are helpless. They're in this cult. And it's not like they're going to go and talk to somebody at school. They're not supposed to have friends at school. A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses homeschool their kids. So that child is literally isolated with the pedophile. Let's get to Asher's experience here.
I had already started questioning the religion, the cult.
And eventually, I started to think, maybe God is real, but it's not this.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Asher can dance, or whoever this is, they getting down here.
My mom was baptized when she was 12. My mom was married when she was 14. The elders sanctioned that, by the way. They were the ones who told my grandmother to do that.
Bam. Elders again. So you have a group of elders, Exhibit A. A group of elders have a young child come to them and tell them that their mother is sexually abusing them. And they tell them, they tell the child to go back home and obey their mother. What's the motive behind that? Because they're pedophiles, right? Okay, well, now you have Asher's experience. Asher's mother was baptized, and the elders got her married or influenced her to get married at like 14, 15. Who is even looking at kids that young and thinking about that sort of stuff? Pedophiles. Pedophiles do. It's just evidence on top of evidence that the elders, it's gotten so bad that the elders, the people who recommend other elders, are probably recommending other pedophiles. These are groups of pedophiles here. Whole different experience, whole different kingdom all.
My grandma tried to make my mom live with my dad, but my mom was the kid, and she wanted to come back home. And she did come back home. Originally, I was raised by my mother. I was living with her and my grandmother at the same time.
Hey, I'm over here, babe.
I was indoctrinated from, the womb on. I was 2 years old, and I'm walking around quoting scripture. I had questions my whole childhood, and they never got answered. Growing up as a Jehovah's Witness and being part of the LGBT community was very stressful, and it was filled with a lot of self-hatred and repression.
Keep clean before Jehovah and enjoy his blessing. The first way you can do this is by avoiding tight-fitting clothes that can identify you with homosexuality. These clothes contribute to changing people's opinion of homosexuality because they come to see it as normal and acceptable.
I asked my grandmother, I remember, how do we know that we're the right religion? How do we know it's not something else? And she would just tell me, because the Bible says so. She would always give me answers like that just weren't satisfying and didn't make sense. My mom started to drink more in her early to mid-20s.
Work.
She started abusing painkillers. When I was 17 years old, my mom got very ill after a car accident. And she ended up in the hospital. We didn't realize it at the time, but she was suffering from a lot of organ damage from chronic alcoholism.
Now, how much of a part do you believe Jehovah's Witnesses growing up in that cult and them having her get married at such a young age and the effect that cult had on her life, how much do you think that had to do with the reason Asher's mom ever got into alcohol in the first place? Let's just take a guess. How do we think Jehovah's Witnesses, that cult, is the reason why she's in the hospital bed to begin with? With all the alcoholism that's in that cult, the depression and everything else. Growing up in a doomsday cult telling you the end of the world is tomorrow. That very likely could be the motivating factor as to why she ever drank that much to begin with.
All of her organs were failing. They were telling us that she needed a blood transfusion. My mom had brain swelling at the time, so they said that she couldn't make the decision for herself. They were leaving the choice up to my grandma.
I distinctly remember there being like a whole swarm of elders. They were the hospital liaison committee. That's what they're called.
Serious medical situations are stressful, and decisions often need to be made quickly, including those involving blood. The Hospital Liaison Committee arrangement provides comfort and help at the right time.
They were there basically to make sure that my grandmother made the right choice.
The hospital liaison committees have been a very powerful tool in the hand of Jehovah to provide this.
I want to smack the hell out of his forehead. It's just his head is just a big bubble of meat, and I want to squeeze it. But you have Jehovah's Witnesses actually have a committee to make sure people die that need medical treatment. Do you understand? This person that's on the screen and a good portion of Jehovah's Witnesses, they're all a bunch of uneducated idiots. So they don't have no liaison committee that can actually assist a hospital or assist a doctor. The only purpose they have is to kill the member and make sure they don't have blood transfusion.
Support and strength when the blood issue arises. What a beautiful gift Jehovah has given his people through the fine work of the hospital liaison committees. Truly, this has been a strengthening aid for us to keep abstaining from blood.
Often these brothers coming, this committee, to the bedside of a Jehovah's Witness who is in distress or in a health situation, it can turn into coercion, like trying to convince a person not to take blood that could save their life.
When a child or any family member needs a blood transfusion and they can't do it, Jehovah's Witnesses will make sure that they're always on the scene, reminding you of the reasons why you should obey these things, even though they're against human nature as a parent.
They would be in the waiting room. They were in her room. They were surrounding her bed. Just a bunch of suits, strong-arming an old lady into killing her daughter.
Why did you buy this for, Mommy?
My grandmother knew what she was supposed to do. She was supposed to sacrifice her daughter to the organization. For hours and hours, different doctors came in and they were trying to tell her the mortal peril she was putting my mother in by allowing her to have this surgery without any blood transfusion. But still, even after all those hours of deliberation, my grandmother, of course, said no blood and signed off on the consent form, and that was it. She passed away. When my mother died, that was pretty much the last straw for me. I had such a hard time reconciling how somebody could do that to their own child. I took that as a sign my family means business about this religion. They are willing to kill each other over this. I'm going to go and try to talk to my grandmother about what happened with my mother. The last time I spoke to her was over a year ago. I just want to understand why. I'm on my way to go and confront my grandmother. It's been over a year since I've seen her, and I'm really hoping that I can just have at least a coherent conversation with her. Oh shit, that's my grandma's garage opening. That's fantastic. Oh, must want to do it. Hi.
been like a year since I've seen you.
Notice how Asher is the only one showing any kind of human emotion for the family members that haven't seen each other in a year. Like, I go over to my grandma's house and I immediately am invited in, and smell I remember smelling the greens that she would be cooking and everything. You got look at the coldness. This is the level of coldness you have when you're part of a cult that teaches that everybody but Jehovah's Witnesses are going to die, and they're going to die any day now. Like, this cult is dangerous. And let's continue.
I'm sorry. I just haven't seen you in forever. There's always been some stuff I wanted to ask you, like about my mom. When you had to make that choice, was it hard?
She chose, and actually, I am happy.
But
to make the right decision.
It didn't hurt.
No,
it didn't hurt you to do that.
No, honey.
Not at all.
That's what she wanted.
But Mom,
she'll be resurrected.
Yeah, but she wasn't even a practicing Jehovah's Witness at the time.
Look, not even letting her in. Not even letting her in the house. Asher's mother died, and her grandmother that made the decision is she'd be resurrected. And none of that, no come inside or anything. So with all that happened to Asher, let's see how Asher decides to, what Asher decides to do after that.
I can't help but think about all the people that are still stuck in the cult. I'm planting some kind of a seed. I just want them to hear some of what I'm saying. They don't have to hear everything. Just
keep in mind, Asher's mother died. Like,
is that something that's worth looking into?
Asher, of course, wants to have a sense of justice.
Heavenly Father, I come to you in prayer and ask that you please forgive us for your ever-changing blood doctrine, which has caused so many needless deaths, including that of my mother, Elizabeth Van Hassel. My mother died from the blood doctrine. Her name is Elizabeth Van Hassel. She was only 32 years old when she passed away. My mother died because her mother made the choice for her not to have blood. Not only that, but there are people that you are shunning, and they are committing suicide over this. Please don't shun your family members. Please, I beg you, do not shun your family members. We love you. We care about you. We don't want you to shun us. We care about you. Also,
it was not the mother's choice, because that's their teaching. The grandmother did that. So basically, I found out by talking to Asher that they rush Asher out, and they're pushing, kicking, and everything. They're kicking Asher. I spoke to Asher. Asher told me they, instead of just asking Asher to leave, which they got the right to do, they were kicking Asher. They were kicking and doing stuff to try to harm Asher after they played a part in killing Asher's mother. Asher has every right to go to their meeting and, let's say, give a comment, if you will, on how wrong that cult is. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. But I think we need to find out. I just found out yesterday that they were kicking Asher and whatnot. I did not know that until yesterday. So, but comment down below. Let me know what you think. Have you watched Crusaders? Let's give our review. If you watched it, give your review down in the comments. What did you think about it? If you haven't watched it, what do you think about this little sneak peek here that you're getting? So comment down below. Let me know what you think. And yeah, they were kicking and everything. I've got the firsthand account from Asher that they were doing that. And instead of being at home eating tacos and burritos, they decide to kick Asher. But comment down below. Let me know what you think. X-Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.